Hi, welcome to this video. In this video, I will give you some examples of Bootstrap grid system. Let us get started. I've already opened the index.html file of Vesco project. I will delete these two elements because we don't need them, so we can focus only on Bootstrap grid system. I'll add some space and I will add some headings for the Bootstrap grid system examples, and it would be just for demonstration purposes. Inside this H3 heading, I'll write Bootstrap grid system examples. Now I will give you the example of single column. I will show you how we can create single column using the Bootstrap grid system. I will add the heading for the single column, or you can say one column. As I said in my previous video, Bootstrap grid system is made up of three things: container, row and columns. I'll first create a div with class container. I'll write the div element and I'll add the class attribute with container class. The div tag defines a division or a section inside HTML document, and the class attribute specifies one or more class names for an element. The class attribute is mostly used to point to a class in style sheet. So we just use container class, and you should remember container is Bootstrap predefined class and it is used to provide a proper width for the layout, and it will also act as a wrapper for the content. Second, I will create a row inside this container div. I'll write the div element with class of row. Row is also a Bootstrap predefined class, and we will always place row inside the container. Using rows, we can create horizontal columns. We can create as many rows we want, and each row will accommodate 12 columns. In this example, we need only one row, so I will use only one row. And the third thing we need to create is a div with Bootstrap column class. As I said in my previous video, Bootstrap has predefined grid classes. We have grid class for large, medium, small and extra small devices. The option we will use in this course would be medium devices grid class. Now let me show you how we can write Bootstrap grid class. I'll write the div element, I will add the class attribute, and then we write the Bootstrap grid class name. You write call hyphen and then you write grid class name. If you have chosen to go with medium devices class, then write MD, which means medium devices, and after that the number of columns. In this case we want a single column or one column, so the number would be 12. And the content goes inside the column. So we have a container, and inside the container we have row, and inside the row we have columns, and the content goes inside the columns. I'll save this index.html file and I'll show you the result of this grid inside the browser. I'll click on this open in browser icon, and now you can see a single column inside this browser. I'll right click on it and I'll choose inspect. So we have a container, and inside the container we have a row, and inside the row we have a column which is equal to 12 Bootstrap columns. Let me add some background color to this column so we can clearly see and understand the columns. I'll go to style.css file. I'll write some comments. Now I will create some custom CSS classes so we can assign background colors to our columns. To create a class inside the style.css file, you use dot and after that you write the name of the class. I'll give it a name call -1. Now I will use CSS background color property. This CSS color property is used to assign background colors to the elements. And the background color for this class would be red. I will copy this line and I will add it 3 more times for column 2, 3 and 4. The background color for the column 2 would be green, and the background color for the column 3 would be blue, and the background color for column 4 would be yellow. These classes are just for demonstration purposes. I'll delete them by the end of this lecture. I'll save this project and I'll refresh the page. Sorry, before going to the browser, I need to add these classes to the columns. So I will add the call -1 to this column and I'll save it again and I'll refresh the page, and you'll see a background color for this div element. So we have a container. Inside the container we have row, and inside the row we have single column which covers 12 bootstrap columns. Next I will give you example of 2 equal columns. I will copy these lines of code and now I will give you example of 2 equal columns. I will divide this row into 2 equal columns by giving the columns number 6 and 6. This will cover the first 6 columns, and I will copy it and I will add it one more time, and this would be the second 6 columns. Let me change the custom CSS class for this column. This would be call -2. I'll save this index.html file. I'll refresh the web page, and now you will see 2 equal columns. I will inspect these 2 equal columns. We have a container. Inside the container we have a row, and we have divided this row into 2 equal columns. 6 plus 6 equal to 12 columns. Using the same way we can create 3 equal columns. Now let me give you an example of 3 equal columns. I will copy these lines of code. And now I will give you an example of 3 equals columns. I will divide this row into 3 equal columns, and the number would be 4. 4 plus 4, 8. And we need to add 4 more columns. So by this way we can divide a row into 3 equal columns. Let me change the custom classes for these columns. This would be column 1, column 2, and this would be column 3. I'll save this index.html file and I'll refresh the page, and you will see 3 equal columns. I'll inspect them. So we have a container. Inside the container we have row, and inside the row we have 3 equal columns. 4 plus 4, 8 plus 4, 12, which is equal to Bootstrap 12 columns. So by this way you can create 3 equal columns. Now let me give you the last example, which is for 4 equal columns. I will copy these lines of code and I will add it for the 4 equal columns example. We need to divide this row into 4 equal columns, and for that the number of columns would be 3. 3 plus 3, 6 plus 3, 9. So we need to add 3 more columns. Let me change the custom column class for this 4th column. It would be called -4. I added these custom classes just for background colors. They don't have any concern for the Bootstrap grid classes. So by this way we divide the row into 4 equal columns. I'll save the index.html file and I'll refresh the page, and you will see 4 equal columns. So now we have 4 equal columns. We have a container. Inside the container we have row, and inside the row we have 4 equal columns. So by this way we can create 4 equal columns by using Bootstrap grid system. I hope now we have got basic idea about Bootstrap grid system. We will use this grid system to lay out our VSCO project. As we move along, you will learn more about Bootstrap grid system. Before I end this lecture, let me clean this index.html file by deleting all of these grid system examples. So we can have a clean index.html file ready for the next section. And I will also delete these custom CSS classes which we just created for demonstration purposes. I'll save this project. Now we are ready. We have set up some basic requirements and we have learned some fundamentals. In next section, we will start building the home section of Vesco project. If you have any question, please post your question in question and answer dashboard. I would be glad to help you there. Thanks.